Okay, the show is sponsored by PowerfulWomenUSA.com, a place to be inspired by other women. Hey, everybody, I'm Jill Conway, and this is Secrets of Powerful Women, a show dedicated to celebrating and supporting strong and successful women and sharing their stories. So I'm hoping that you will be inspired by this conversation to pursue your own dreams, reclaim your voice, and discover your strengths. So my guest today is Lisa Woodruff. She is the CEO and founder of Organized 365. Okay, I was going to say 365, but she has authored 4 books. A 5th book, a new book, Escaping Quicksand, is out now. And the other books, which I love, Lisa, is The Paper Solution and How Did ADHD Affect Home Organization. So we have so much to talk about, and you've entered my life at a wonderful time. So Lisa, thank you for being here and welcome.
Oh my goodness. Thank you so much for having me on the podcast.
And you have your own podcast, so I do want to say that. So Lisa helps people organize their life in their homes. So I think, gosh, it's so important. And Lisa, before we start, I do want to throw out some things I looked up that 17 hours per year, people spend 17 hours per year searching for misplaced items. And 1 in 10 U.S. households rent off-site storage at over $1,000 a year just to hold their junk or their stuff. They don't even think of it as stuff. So let's go deep now. So tell me exactly what you do.
That's such a loaded question because I'm a woman and I've had this company for 15 years.
Fantastic.
So I just keep adding more things to my job description. So I'll give you a really quick progression of the company. So it started as an in-home organization company in 2012. For 6 years, we did in-home organization. Wow. 3 years, that's all we did. And we did blogging about it, creating that SEO around Organized 365. Then in 2015, I started the podcast and started to, how do we teach organization online? Like we know how to teach it in person, but how do you teach it online? My background is a teacher. So I started the podcast. Well, then 6 years into the company, I realized that, we don't have any school supplies in our houses. That's part of the reason why we're so disorganized is because the only way we get organized is you have to go to the store and buy something. And the only thing being sold to us is a decorative solution and labels, but truly we need operational systems. So I created binders that replace your file cabinet, a Sunday basket that eliminates your kitchen counter clutter, and the Productive Home Solution, which is a year-long curriculum to get your whole house organized. And so these are like the building blocks, the school things that you need in order to get organized. Well, after that happened and we started getting organized, there's all this housework, which isn't really organization, and invisible work that we're doing that was still dragging me down and not giving me the amount of time that I wanted for my family and my business. So in academia, they also started identifying the invisible load and the emotional weight related to the invisible load. So as I became aware of this, crazy person that I am, I went back to school at the age of 50 and got my PhD in applied psychology.
Wow.
And now I am taking my knowledge as a teacher and applying that to the systems that I created in my 40s, testing them in science to see if they do provide measurable results for households, which I know they do. I just don't know how we're going to show that in academia. And the main way I'm going to start is through that kitchen counter piles that we put in the Sunday basket. That planning system I created, the Sunday basket, is really created based on a lot of the strategies that I used with kids who struggled with executive function or were diagnosed with ADHD in school. I would color code things. I would chunk things. I would, give them a way to put ideas over to the side so that they could focus on the work that they needed to do. All of those things are done in the Sunday basket. And we do all of those things in schools for kids who struggle with executive function. We don't have any scientifically tested alternatives to pharmaceutical intervention for adults with executive function deficits. And so that will be the first studies that I do.
Wow. All right. Well, let me jump in. Talk about the Sunday basket. What exactly is this?
Okay, sure. Yeah. So the Sunday basket, I first created that 23 years ago when my kids were 6 months and 2 years old. And I just had more actionable to-dos than I knew how to do them. Like my to-do list had to-do lists. And then I would lose the to-do list and then I would have no idea what to do, but I would know there was something I should have been doing. And we were paying our bills late because I couldn't find them. I mean, this was 2002, but I mean, you've been there where you're like, I know I should be using this time to my advantage, but I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. And I realized that there was just too much to do. Like I couldn't take action because I just spent so much time organizing what I needed to take action on. So one night I took all of my stacks of paper at that time and I divided it out into 40 different actionable piles, like people to call, forms to fill out, bills to pay, orders to deliver, things to order, and then I put them in a basket organized by paper clips. And then I just started tackling that. In about 6 weeks, I was caught up and I had a better system. Like, okay, actionables go in the basket. And then on Sunday, they get divided out eventually into these binder inserts that are color coded so that, you don't have to use paper clips. And I could just grab out any binder insert I wanted at any time, do the actionable, move on. And everything stayed safely until the next time I needed to do that. Well, over the last 20 years, that has been refined. And now we manufacture the box and there's an online course and there's co-working that goes along with it. And all of our products are a lifetime purchase. So when you get any of the courses, they have an ongoing component and a community component where they keep you going.
So this is a huge business for you. I mean, there's millions of downloads on all of your work. What do you think? Why do we collect and collect and collect? And it seems like if I could stop the mail, I would, because when you clean that counter, in comes the new mail from the day.
Yes. Okay. Agreed and disagree. So I agree. Yes, we want to stop the junk mail because that's just wasting our time. But also I have bills still mailed to me, even though I have them set up on auto pay electronically as a reminder that money is coming out of my account. So when we eliminate the physical clutter, specifically related to paperwork or administration work, then everything becomes harder because it's all cognitive. You have to remember how much that bill is. You have to remember when it's coming out. It's automatically going to get debited. Yeah, the action is automated, but the financial figuring out when and where the money is going is not automated. That's why we have so many subscriptions we don't even realize we're paying for. And then all of a sudden we'll have an $89 debit and we're like, oh shoot, that was an annual subscription that I meant to cancel. Now you can cancel it now for next year, but you already paid the $89. And that happens over and over and over again. And everything that used to be a flyer that came in from school or something that came in from the mailbox is now a separate app that you have to log into to see what the soccer practice schedule is, or to log into my gym to register for the Pilates, and they'll only let you register every 7 days. So you can't even do it for the whole week. And if you don't do it and they only have 7 beds, now you show up to a reformer class and they don't have a bed for you. Guess how I know? It's all cognitive. Like it's just adding to our mental load. So your kitchen counter looks fabulous, but you're like a squirrel that is high on cocaine because you have no idea what you're doing. But your counter looks great. So it's not, a lot of times we are trying to get a aesthetic organization solution for a systemic lack of systems problem that creates more cognitive overload. So we don't feel better. It just looks better.
Oh, that's true. So, all right. So let's make that connection. The connection between clutter and mental wellness, we'll call it. Yeah. It's a big deal.
It is a big deal. So there's the visual clutter of like you walk in a house, you're like, oh my gosh, if these kids don't put away these socks and shoes, I am going to string them up by their toenails.
Yeah.
There's that kind of clutter that's like never ending.
Yeah.
There's the male clutter of like, are you kidding me? Like there's like maybe one thing in there I have to go through 8 things. So this is like rework that I don't need to do. And then there's also the clutter of, I haven't really organized my photos on the computer. I don't even know what's in there. Or I know that I've gone through all the important email, but what's all that other email? And oh, shoot, somebody texted me the other day. And so I read it. So now it doesn't have that little dot next to it. And I totally forgot about it and never replied to them. So there's all these different kinds of clutter. It's not just visible clutter. It's clutter everywhere.
Yeah. So what do you suggest? What's the first thing that you suggest? I come to you and I say, I got to get organized. My house is a disaster. Is it you have to organize like you said, your mind and your brain first, or like, how's that work?
I know this is hard because once you become aware of how many systems or lack of systems there are, you're like, oh my gosh, I can't do this in a weekend. Right. This isn't like I just order pizza and you take one more day off work and I'm going to get done. This is learning a skill like training for a marathon and you've never run a mile before.
Right.
It's doable. It's just going to take time. So if you will give me the grace of the fact that we're not going to wave a magic wand, but we are going to get to the end result, there are two things I would tell you to start with, and whichever one resonates with you most, that's the one I would do.
Okay.
One is visual and one is mental. So the visual one would be, I want to send you to your bedroom like you're in 4th grade. And I want you, when you have any free time, to spend all that time organizing your bedroom, bathroom, and closet. Like really go through, get the new hangers that you want, get rid of the pants that just never make you feel good, the shoes that look adorable and you got them on sale, but they always hurt within 5 minutes. They're gone. Like just keep going back and back and back. Like you're your own child, and really get those spaces organized, because when you get those spaces organized, you will go to bed and wake up in that organized space that really is serving the person who you are today, not the person who you were. And in some ways, you can make it the person who you're going to be, like, ooh, and I'm going to treat myself for that new purse, or I'm going to go out and I'm going to buy jeans that really fit and look great on the current body I have. And I can't wait to wear those on the weekend. So that is going to put you in the right frame of mind. And it's real kinesthetic energy. Like you're going to see the immediate result. Right. The other way in which I tell people to get organized is if you are like, oh my gosh, yes, I come home from work and I'm like, I have 89 things to do. And by the time I could think of what I'm supposed to do, something else more urgent comes in my head and I literally do nothing. Like I'm making no progress. I'm actually going backwards all the time. For you, I would say get the Sunday basket, and every spare minute you have, you're going to set up that Sunday basket. It usually takes about 6 weeks of, like 10, 15 hours a week, just plugging away at getting everything out of your brain and into this basket, so you could see all the projects you're working on, all of the things you have in action, and all of the things that you need to print out or have related to those actions. And then after 6 weeks, it's a weekly planning session where you just make sure you're doing all your projects. You've got all your bills paid. You've got your meal plan ready. You plan your week on paper, and then you go into the next week. Very much what we do when we were school kids, getting ready for all of our subjects, or in business, how we get ready for the next work week. We just don't have the system in place for the household, for all the invisible work of the household.
I'm also in real estate, and there's a lot of clients I work with who have a lot of clutter, a lot. And they like, I don't even know where to begin. Like you were saying, like it's overwhelm. So I know, and for me, I guess I say, well, let's start here, or what affects you the most. But I like what you said about, it's really the inner sanctum of your bedroom, right?
Yeah.
Where you start to so you go to bed and you wake up in a better frame of mind that can help you. Yeah.
Yes. Now thinking about in a realtor, like if you're going to move, obviously you don't want to pay to move something that you don't even want. So, and also, research will show that if you declutter your house, you get back, I think it's like 10x whatever you invest. So like if you invest $2,000 in organizational services, you'll get $20,000 more in the sale of that house, because the house now looks like it is organized. Because when you are selling a house, you do want it to look very clean, very organized. That's different than when you are living in the house and you need it to function for the way you need it to function. So in that case, I would take all of your extra energy and I would just go in every room and just scan and go, are there any things in here that I no longer want or need? So often when we see something, then we go through all these other mental calculations. But it has value. Can I sell it? Do I need to return it to the person who gave it to me? Could it be of value to give it to somebody else? Well, if I give it to somebody else, is it going to be goodwill, or is it going to go here? Is it going to stop with all that? The only question I want you to ask yourself is, do you still need it and want it? If the answer is no, then the answer is no. Just start moving it into the garage. Once it's all in the garage, then you can make yourself go through the mental gymnastics of where does it go? Often with my clients, if they knew it was going to somebody who would use it, they would easily get rid of it. But they don't get rid of things because they don't want to be a bad steward of the environment and add it to the landfill. They don't want to give things places where they don't think they'll be valued. And so we have a lot caught up in the value of the item. When you are listing your house for sale, just move it all out. I personally do send my things to Goodwill. I know some people have problems with Goodwill. I don't have a problem with Goodwill. In my area, they hire the disabled, and the people who are disadvantaged in my area actually get money to spend at the Goodwill shop. And so it really recirculates a lot of money in our community. And so I feel like I'm providing work. And if they can't sell it, they do recycle almost everything. So I don't have to make a lot of decisions. Goodwill makes all those decisions for me.
Yeah, I like
If
Goodwill
it's
too. Yeah.
Yeah, if it's furniture, like once you're in your city, or if you call a professional organizer or go on any of those,
Hmm.
the free message boards and Facebook, they will help you with where to send the things. But you're not really a reseller or a distributor of donations. You just need to decide if you do or don't want it. If you don't want it, then you just need Vietnam vets to come and pick it all up, take it away, you
But what
know?
if you tell yourself that you do want it and that you will use it, even though you're not going to, you know?
Yeah, so I don't really deal with that a lot. Even when I did in-home professional organizing, if you want it, you got to keep it. I am not a
Okay.
decluttering expert. I think decluttering is a tool. I don't think it's the end all be all. I think
Mhm.
decluttering has been sold to us as the big solution for getting organized. It is definitely step one. However, if decluttering is your only tool in the tool set and you declutter and or you don't want, let's say you're the professional organizer and I say, well, I don't know how I'm going to use it, but I just want it. And you say, well, if you don't know how you're going to use it, you should really declutter it. And then I declutter it. Then I'm going to have resentment over that because maybe in the future I figure out when I could have used it and darn it, if I hadn't gotten rid of it and that professional organizer told me to get rid of it. You see where that's going? I would rather you just keep keeping it. And then you go,
Yeah.
why do I still have this thing? This is ridiculous. This thing has to go.
Yeah.
And when it goes from that energy, then you are giving it away out of, I don't need this anymore, as opposed to that, I have to hold on to this because there's something in here that I might need to keep it for.
Hmm.
The other reason that I don't tend to over focus on decluttering is because I decluttered more than I needed to. I decluttered all my books back in the day when we thought we should just put those all on ebooks.
Mhm.
I still regret that to this day. They were all
Yeah.
notated. I read every single book I have. I know the books that I don't have, and I have hundreds or thousands again now. So that's my passion project. And sometimes we'll declutter something because other people don't see value in it. And we're like, yeah, I guess we shouldn't have value in it either, but we
Mm.
do. And declutter, a minimalist lifestyle is an aesthetic. It is a way of being, but it is also a design aesthetic. And I don't have that design aesthetic.
Yeah. Yeah, me either. What would you say if 'cause I've always wondered this question. You know, when they what do you recommend? So your dresser, let's say your makeup table is messy. Do you say take everything off first and then put back what you need, or you go through one by one? Like what?
Yeah. So you could do either. So
Yeah.
what I find is it's great if you can empty everything out and put back things one by one. It takes a long time and it
Yeah.
always takes longer than you think. Even as a professional organizer, I'd be like, oh, this is fine. We'll be able to get through this in this amount of time. We didn't. So I ended
Yeah.
up going over and then you don't charge for that time. So what I like to do is one little project. So like when we do the kitchen in my program, it takes 21 days because I break everything down. Like the silverware drawer is a whole day.
Yeah.
Like, okay,
Yeah.
it may take you 15 minutes to empty it, decide what you want, vacuum it out, put it back in. When we're doing the drink cabinet, that may take you an hour, but you can get that done in a day. But
Mm-hmm.
if we emptied everything out of the kitchen and put it in the other room and then start putting it back, I mean, now your house is disarrayed. And of course, as soon as you do that, because we're women, as soon as you do that, you get sick or the dog throws up or you have to go pick up the kid. And now your house is apart and somebody's sick and now you're trying to work. See what I mean? Like
Yeah.
we need to live in our households. They need to be running at the optimal efficiency they can be. We can never take us completely offline. It's just not a thing. So when
Right.
I do a closet, I don't empty out the whole closet. I have in the past. I could never probably do that again. Maybe now that my kids are grown, I could, but I'll take like all the shoes out, look at them, take them back in, all the pants out, look at them, take them back, but not the whole thing. Where would I
Right.
sleep? All that's going to go in my bed. I'm going to
Right.
run out of energy. I'm in my 50s. Come on.
Do you think though, I mean, we just accumulate too much? Like we just keep buying if we don't need it, or is it because we don't know what we have?
I think that partly we don't know what we have for sure.
Mhm.
So I love to say that the storage room is a prepaid store. Like the word store is right in there. Storage room. It's a prepaid store. Does your storage room look like a prepaid store, Jill?
You're
Nobody's
funny.
does. After you work with me, they do. They all look like shelving with bins. And the bins could be anything in there. So then you know what you have. Yes, that's number one. But also, I mean, life gets moving too fast. We could set up systems. It takes like how long would it take you to train for a marathon? Me, I cannot, I can
Long.
walk 3 miles. Yeah, exactly. It would take me a long time.
Long.
I do not have a good workout or gene. It's like
Right.
my weakest skill. So if your weakest skill is organizing, You'll be like, oh my gosh, by the time I get to the prepaid store, I'll be 90. No, you won't, but it will take us a while and we'll get better and better and better at it. And we're going to live in our households our whole lives. So we might as well invest in this skill that's going to serve us for the rest of our lives.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think you could be a stand-up comedian, I think, Lisa.
Yeah, great. Thanks.
Something else
I'll
to
take
do.
it on the road. Take it on the road. Got a lot of material.
You do this. There's so much. There's so many questions I want to ask, and I want to get into how you started and why you started. But what do you think? But we only have a minute or two. What do you think the biggest organization mistake or organizing mistake that people make is? Like, what's the biggest one?
Number one, organizational mistake is that when you have high organizing energy and you're like, I am going to do this time.
Yeah.
You start with the spaces that your family lives in. Knock that off. Don't do the playroom, the family room, the kitchen counter, the kids' rooms. No, you're going to take your best effort on things that are going to be undone by the end of the day. No, waste of time. That's when you take that for the storage room, for the paper, for your closet. The areas that when they get organized, they will reduce your mental load. They will reduce your anxiety and allow you to really show up better and be better. And then you can organize those spaces last because they're going to have to be organized over and over and over.
Yeah. It's so true. I feel like clutter gives me anxiety. 100%. Is that common, you think?
Yeah, it is definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I feel like my heart races when I see it. I'm like, oh my God, I feel like it just calls to me. And then I get just pissed because it's just, I'm like, oh, put all this. And my gosh. So, and even you know what, I used to say with the kids when they were younger with all the toys, it was just, you remember, right? You clean up the kids' toys and then they wake up or whatever from a nap and everything, it's like exploded again in that room.
Yeah.
But now I feel like my kids are older, my 20, 22, 24. They still just leave random stuff like everywhere.
Can't control other people. Control other people.
Oh, there it is. Ooh, that's true. All right, so let's pause right here. There's so much to talk about with Lisa Woodruff after the commercial break. You're listening to Secrets of Powerful Women, everybody. Help me get the word out. Share this with a friend or two because this is really, really good. We'll be right back. Hey, everybody, if you're enjoying this conversation, please take a second to follow and subscribe to the Secrets of Powerful Women podcast on YouTube, Spotify, and iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, and Apple Podcasts. Because every share, comment, and review helps us beat the algorithm and reach more women like you with powerful stories, real conversations, and inspiration to step into their next chapter at any age. And if this episode spoke to you, share it with a friend who needs to hear it. Join us at our next event. Welcome back, everybody. You're listening to Secrets of Powerful Women. Lisa Woodruff is with me. She is an organizational guru, and she's written several books. Lisa, we were laughing in the break, and if you're listening, you know how funny this woman is. She has a podcast which is called Organize 365, right? She has many books. She has a new book called Escaping Quicksand, as well as other books, which I want to talk about. And she is just a delight. So, Lisa, talk first. First, let's talk about how you even got to this point to be doing this for over a decade. What were you doing before? What did you go to school for? What did you want to do? And then how this all came about.
I think it's so funny when we ask women these questions because it's like we're going to go through this big ball of yarn.
Yeah.
When we get to the answer.
It's true because you know what's great? Every woman has it. Everyone pivoted this way and that way. And I'm like, how great. You're not alone, ladies. You're not alone.
Oh my gosh. Never thought I'd be here. So I went to school to get an early childhood education and elementary education degree, taught for a few years, was married. And then we ended up adopting our kids. I was a stay-at-home mom for a decade, which I loved. That was my whole entire life goal, was to be a stay-at-home mom. I did it. Then I had no idea what I wanted to be. And by the time my kids were in middle school, my parents had gotten divorced and my father became ill and we had to settle his estate. And we went through the 2008, 2009 economic recession. And I went on an antidepressant and gained 30 pounds. And, I became a country song. So I went back to teaching because we needed some money. But I really needed the flexibility of being home for my kids even though they were in full-time school. They were in different schools and it just wasn't working. So I ended up quitting in December of 2011. I'd been in many direct sales companies, 23. And I actually made money in most of them, which is crazy. And so my husband was like, join another direct sales company. I'm like, okay, but I really want to do my own thing. So I knew about bloggers in Cincinnati and I knew about SEO, search engine optimization. So I named the company Organize 365 because I love organizing.
Yeah.
I had no idea how I'd make money or what it would be. So I joined a direct sales company and started blogging. 3 months later, we had 25 people at the party. It was called Clever Container, doesn't exist anymore. We were selling containers. And I was telling him, I was selling these containers, but really what you need is to do all these things. You don't need all these containers. And there were 25 people there. And I said to my friend, who are these people and why are they here? And she said, because everyone wants to know what a professional organizer has to say. I didn't know I was a professional organizer. I didn't even know that was a thing. And then it's like, your whole life makes sense. The movie place. I had been charging people to go in their houses to organize their kids, to tutor, to wallpaper, to whatever. Like I had already been doing the service and even charging for it, but I didn't know there was a name for it. So 1 month later, I was a professional organizer and I had this professional organization business and I replaced my teaching salary. And then as I was doing the in-home organizing, my clients started canceling. And I was like, well, this is bad. I must have ticked them off or they ran out of money or what did I do? And they said, oh, no, we paid attention to the questions you were asking us. And so we just finished on our own. And I said, what? And they said, yeah, we learned how to get organized. And a couple clients in the same month said the same thing, which was terrible because I lost all my money. But it was great because I was like, oh, it's learnable. I have a teaching degree. How do I teach this online? Because ultimately I didn't want a service business. I wanted an online business, but I didn't know how to start one. So that's when I started the podcast. Maybe if I can talk to you while you're in a room, let me see if you can make results. Let me put together some classes and see if you actually get the results at home. They did. So then I created an online course. Then we realized that, we need it, and everything grew from that. Yeah, so I think if you keep putting in excellent effort in whatever you're uniquely gifted and created to do, and don't give up, most successful companies are just because they didn't give up. The tenacity, it's not even skill. The skill comes with time. I didn't start as with all these answers and I'm still growing all the time. I'm so excited to see what happens now that I do research. I'm so excited to see what happens now that I'm thinking about households that are not married couples with kids. I'm so excited to see what happens in the future when we start thinking about, well, what do men even think about this? We aren't even asking them. Right. We're just telling them to do more, but we're not asking them how they would do it. What if we start bringing them in at the ideation stage as opposed to the execution stage? So it's a never ending jigsaw puzzle.
Yeah. So you built the business. So you started, as you said, from being a teacher. I love that, stay at home. What am I going to do? I feel that is a big question that women ask themselves often at a certain stage in their life. And even in their 50s, when it's like, what do I really want to do? Yeah. So how did you know, you said you loved it. How did you know you loved it? How did you know it was a passion?
Yeah. So I am a very analytical person. So I literally sat myself on my bed with a fountain cook at the time in 2011. And I said, okay, Lisa. And I wrote down all the jobs I'd ever had. I was a full-time babysitter from the age of 12 until 22. I worked 40 hours a week babysitting. I loved it. So I did that. I did all these direct sales companies. I was employed in regular schools. I was employed in a Montessori school. I advocated for my kids' IEPs. I helped other parents do that. I did all these painting and tutoring and all these different jobs. I had 9 Schedule Cs on my tax return in 2011 when I was sitting on my bed going, okay, Lisa, Jill of all traits, who do you want me to be? I'll be whoever you want me to be. Just pay me money. I was right. Okay, this isn't good. You should narrow this down a little bit. And so I looked through every single one of those and I was successful or hired because of my organization ability. That I was organized or I organized someone else, including the job that I left. Because the teaching job I left, I wasn't hired for teaching. I was hired because the co-teacher was unorganized. And they wanted those classroom closets organized. And I ended up organizing all the closets in the whole school before I left. But that's what the administrator wanted, organization in that classroom. Yes, a teacher, but a teacher who was more organized than the other teacher. So it was all about organization.
So were you always organized since you were young? Your
I was.
room?
And I thought, that was like, okay, if you're organized, you're organized. If you're not, you're not, because it's kind of like what we were sold.
Yeah.
Which is why I asked that question in my research at first. Like, do you believe organization is a learnable skill? 87% of Americans say yes. I'm like, wow, that's a shock to me, because growing up, I was told you either were or you weren't. I was. My mom would send me to my bedroom because I was talking too much, as you can tell. And then I would reorganize it. And then she would say we could come out. And I'd be like, no, I'm not done reorganizing it. And then I'd go in my sister's room and start organizing her room. So yeah, I was just like always organizing.
Right. That's how your brain works. You can see things in the perfect way you can set it up and everything. I have so many questions, Lisa. So you started your business is taking off. Are you able to find the work-life balance now?
That is the best question. So what I realized was I wanted to replace my teaching salary, which was $500 a week. I did that in the first year of owning the company. I did not have any financial aspirations beyond that. I wanted to make more money, but I didn't know how much it was. I don't have a business background. So the company started making money. I was like, oh, okay, people are talking about these 10-figure months, like getting $10,000 a month. Let's go for that. Like, I'm very goal-oriented. Great. That's what we're going to do. So I hired the team. We started organizing people's paper. I was organizing paper in my basement. They're organizing everywhere. We're doing the blog. And then I remember we went through $7,000 in revenue one month to $17,000 in revenue the next month. Yeah. You guys should know this. If you're growing a business, it's not like 1,000 to 2,000. Like, you have these leaps. Well, all of the things that I had been doing leading up to that month that we got to $17,000 in revenue was I was doing paper organization in my basement, so not on site. That way we could organize in houses during the day, or I could have other organizers in my basement with me organizing paper that maybe didn't want to go into households or had less hours that they could do or weren't ready to work with clients in that way. And then I was working on photos because I was Creative Memories consultant. That was the biggest company, direct sales company I was in. And I was doing that every night. My husband and I would watch TV and I would work on scrapbooks for 3, 4, 5 hours every single night. And I was charging, $75 an hour. So all of those things together made that $17,000. So as I was growing that company, you're asking about work-life balance. That was all happening in my house. When I decided to manufacture the Sunday basket, I had to order more than 2. I had to order, I started with Slash Pockets and I had to order, I think, 10,000. And I was like, okay, this won't be a big deal. And then the broker said that the order was coming and he delivered it into my garage and then you couldn't park anything there. I was like, oh. And I already had another order on the way. I was like, I need a warehouse. So I went to a small office, like a 400 square foot office for 4 months. Then we went to 1,500 square feet for 2.5 years. And now we're in 8,000 square feet warehouse and office. The work-life balance came once COVID happened. I already had employees working in this warehouse. I was not. I had an office here, like I'm in it now. It was gorgeous. It's beautiful. I was still working at home because I was letting the dog out at lunch because that was my job because I worked from home. I was employing like 10 people. I worked from home. Wow. I didn't have work-life balance. Right. And also, in order to have more time in my business, I kept hiring more and more work out at home so I could work on the business. Somebody to clean the house, somebody to pick up the kids, somebody to do whatever. But I was still in my head a stay-at-home mom until a friend of mine said, you haven't been a stay-at-home mom for ever pretty much, but you think you're a stay-at-home mom because you're located in the household. So early 2021, my husband goes to Florida where his family is, goes down there, meets his family, comes home. His company makes him quarantine for COVID when he gets back, but he doesn't have COVID. And when he's working, he's always talking out loud on the phone and the AM radio's playing. And that's not how I work. But we're both upstairs back. I'm getting flashbacks of 2020. And I'm like, can't do this again. I can't do this again. I was like, Lisa, you own an office that is equipped with everything you need. I grabbed my purse. I said, I'm going to the office. He said, when will you be back? I said, at 5. I came home at 5. The next morning I got up, I showered, I went to the office, and I have worked at the office every day since. So at the end of his quarantine, he said, who's going to let the dog out on Monday when I go back to work? And I said, well, you always come home for lunch. So I guess you. And now I work in an office, but for a long time, and I was already $1 million business owner at that time. I was still a stay-at-home mom in my head. Our brain takes a while to level up to where we are in business. And also, women always are going to prioritize the household over the work. Yeah. That's why so many women left their jobs during COVID because they had to prioritize the household. Somebody has to take care of the household.
Right. So How did you do it all? I mean, like, so you had to commit and decide and say, I'm going to focus and be at my workspace where I don't have the distraction. Really, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
And as we're doing this podcast, I have had 2 family members call me 4 times. Something apparently happened at home. Like I could do anything about it. I am at the office. So even now, still, we are always the default. We need to realize this, ladies. We are running a household that takes anywhere from 28 to 40 hours a week to run without children. That's just the housework, the laundry, the dishes, the admin, the food, it takes a lot of time. And so as the company grew, once I was working in the office and I wasn't home to change the laundry and all of those things, I had to become much more strategic about implementing systems at home, like I had systems at work. So I could have my employees working at work and I could have my machines working at home or my systems backing up at home. So I could bounce back and forth and manage both. That's where the organized 365 systems came from, was me needing to step out and manage that system instead of all the little tasks.
Right. Right. Well, I mean, so what do you think then for you, and what is your secret to success then? Just being able to manage that, and what is it? You've worked so hard.
We all work so hard, you guys. It's not just me. I think my secret for success is I can see abstract things as more concrete. I can look at time many different ways. I can look at my employees' workload and the amount of time it takes many different ways. You know, they'll talk a lot about how much a meeting costs. I know exactly how much meetings cost. If I do a one-on-one, if I do it with my whole team, if I do it with a consultant, if I have my leadership come on a team with me, I know what that costs us in real hard dollars, but also them not working on something else in the company at the same time. Very few people can see those things. Because I could see those in the business, it becomes real clear on a P&L or when you're doing quarterly time with your team members and they're like, well, you have me working on 5 projects, so I couldn't get any of them done. I was like, oh, that's on me. We need to only work on 1 or 2 per quarter so we can actually get them done. Then I use the mirror and I go back to my household. And I'm like, yeah, right. I can't do 89 different projects. Like I have to pick 2, and it's also going to be May or December, the months where you just lose May and December and July. Those months should just have big X's on them. You get absolutely nothing done. If it's February, you can get a whole project done in February. October, great month to get things done. Not December, May, or July. Once you know the operating cycle of home, like you know the operating cycle of work, then you can say, okay, here's what I want to have happen. Here are the months it has to happen in these different organizations. Here's what I'm going to need to do for myself or for my team or who I'm going to need to hire in order to achieve that goal. But we don't think about running our households that way. Right. That is my new Productive Home CEO theoretical framework that I'm putting on the podcast, will be the next book. And that'll be the basis of the research that I'm doing. We are an economic entity. The American household is responsible for 68% of US GDP. If the American household doesn't spend money, we are in a recession, period, full stop. That is how we get in a recession, because the American household doesn't spend money. The American household may not be income generating, but it is income producing. Your P&L is your tax return. That is where, and that is the size economic entity you're running. So if you have 2 people contributing, plus you have some money coming in from somewhere else, whatever you tell the IRS is the income that you've earned that needs to be taxed on. That's how big your entity is. I remember I was in a podcast episode and the male podcast host said, oh my gosh, me and all my colleagues make $300,000 a year. So are you telling me my wife is running a $300,000 a year business? I said, yep. He goes, wow. You know, and his respect for her just went like through the roof. He was like, I got to tell all my buddies about this. It's not just that I can earn this. She can manage it. She's managing all that. She's redistributing it. Yeah. And so it's a big job that we have, and it's not optional. It goes with us through our whole entire lives. We have to give weight to that household manager role that we have in all the work that we do there, just like whatever we're doing in business. And when we operationalize it and look at it and plan it like you do in business, then you reduce cognitive load and you can increase your capacity to do both.
Let's talk about that book, since you were mentioning writing another book. Your book just came out, your 5th book, Escaping Quicksand. So, I mean, tell us about it. What's it about? I mean, I kind of get the idea, but.
Yeah, Escaping Quicksand, 10 Steps to Overcome the Overwhelm of Modern Home Life. And this is really looking back on my 40s. I got my house organized, I got the company started. But what were the mental mindset shifts I needed to up level in my mind to go from, a young adult in my 20s and 30s into a more mature adult in my 50s now? And the biggest one is we recognize it, but we need to, in a positive, proactive way, meet our own care needs in addition to the care needs of others, children, spouses, parents, friends. Often we're so busy giving that we don't refill our cup, so to speak, and then we don't even know what does that mean? Get a
Right.
massage? That's not going to help me. That's going to cost money. How do you really truly do that? So how you really truly do that is if you're going to fill up the kids' water bottles, you also fill up yours. If you're going to make a special meal for the kid who has food allergies, you also make a special meal for your menopausal body, because you're not going to eat what you did in your 20s.
Yeah.
If you're going to enroll the kids or someone in a sporting class, you're going to enroll yourself in yoga. Like you're going to do these things for you that you do for others. Like we're all going to be healthy, well, and whole.
Right. Oh, that's nice. So, right. It's just give yourself a break and prioritize yourself too. I don't think, again, we have a culture where self-care oftentimes is considered selfish, which is outrageous, right? Yet we're supposed to, as you said, do everything for everyone.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
What about the paper solution? What's the first one? Tell me about that, because I feel like, again, we mentioned it briefly, and then you said you were organizing people's papers in the basement. So what was that your first book?
No, it was my most recent book before this. So the paper solution, as a professional organizer, all professional organizers, we organize file cabinets all the time. Here's all the things that need to be filed, make our files better, color code the files, all the different things of the files. Nobody has a good solution. We have a couple that are okay. But the homeowners never know how to manage it, which is great for us, because then we can come back and we can maintain that file solution. Well, in 2008, or maybe it was 2007, I had a couple of clients who were trying to evacuate from Hurricane Harvey and also the fires in California. And they're emailing me and they're saying, we have our Sunday basket and our kids and our animals in the car. What do we do with the paper? And they'd put in these file cabinets that I told them to. And I was like, you're just going to have to leave it. And I was like, well, that's a really bad answer, because whenever we need paper, we need it with the doctor, with the lawyer, with the estate person, whoever, and we need to be able to take it with us. It's important. We wouldn't have it if we didn't need it. Also, file cabinets, we keep a lot in there that we don't need. About 85% of what's in your file cabinet you don't need. And the other thing is, when you're really settling an estate or advocating for someone's wellness for a child or someone as a power of healthcare, a lot of that information is in an online portal or in the person's brain.
Yeah.
And we don't have access to that in a file cabinet. So the binders that I created and the paper solution is a binder for each of the big life events that you'll have. Power of healthcare, power of attorney, or settling estate. Selling a home is one, your household reference binder, and then running your home, your operations binder. And those have papers from your file cabinet in it, and then you get rid of the rest. But also you print out from online different things to go in the binder, and there are worksheets in each one that have you write down the things that you know in your head, because until you make the paper solution, the head of the household is the family's Siri. Hey mom, hey mom, hey mom, hey mom. And when I would ask people, for 6 years, I did a Wednesday podcast episode where we interviewed someone who was getting organized with Organized 365. And I would ask them, when was the first time you noticed you were organized? And the number one answer was when I could answer a question or they could find the information without me having to turn my car around and go back home.
Wow. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Well, what do you think is, what's the thing that people, I guess, lose track of the most? Is it like their keys or paper, or like the BS stuff, and then that's just really an indicator of a bigger issue? Or, like, what are people having the hardest time with? Is it the kitchen?
I think, just anecdotally, or I'll speak for myself.
Yeah.
I think the biggest thing that I have now that I didn't have before is my own ideas. So when you're so busy doing everything, you'll have a great idea. You'll be like, I need to remember that, but you don't remember it. Or You'll think, oh, I need to take this into work tomorrow, but you don't remember to take it. You get to work, you're like, oh, darn it, I forgot to bring that thing in.
Yeah.
So our brain, which is a fabulous computer, is always going through our lives and thinking about what we need. And it's saying, hey, remember to bring the raspberries home from work. And, you should really text your sister and, like all these great ideas, but we don't have time in the moment to do them. So what I do is I write every single thing down on an index card. Like I don't question if what my brain is saying is a good idea, a bad idea, if I've already done it, whatever. I just write it down. And then when I'm done with this interview or I see that note card, I'll ask myself one question. Can this wait till Sunday? Still don't even ask if it's a good idea. If it can wait till Sunday, it goes in the Sunday basket. And then on Sunday, I go through all of those. And I do the same for work. I have a Friday basket for work. So I do it for work. What I've noticed since doing this is I am fully present all the time. The only reason I was distracted during this interview is because I've had a million texts coming from my family. Apparently, if everybody wants to know, some guy ruffled through our mailbox and ran over all our trash cans because I see the texts that are coming in, but I'm not dealing with that yet. I'll deal with that next. But usually I don't have any distractive thoughts when I'm in an interview like this because my brain has a place to put things and then it's time to go through it later. This is called cognitive offloading. So we move it out of our working memory and somewhere else so we can remember to do it later. That is what has given me the most capacity. I don't have a to-do list. I have these baskets that I go through and all these ideas that I write down.
But why the index card, not just a regular stick-on?
You're a really good question asker.
Thanks.
So a stick-'em, they could stick to something else and then that's a problem. But most people would say a to-do list, like they just have a running to-do list. Yeah. The problem with a running to-do list is it's mingled ideas, tasks, projects, dreams, hopes, ambitions. Yeah. Whereas when it's an index card, I'm like, oh, that's a great idea for the remodel we're doing 3 years from now. I put it in the slash pocket. Or for me, a book. Like I have a whole slash pocket full of a bunch of book things. I have a couple slash pockets full of great podcast ideas. Yeah. So as you have a great idea, I'll write it down. I'll throw it in that podcast slash pocket. I might not record it for 5 years, but that idea is captured. How do we capture our ideas? This is what we're uniquely gifted and created to do, is to think. And we're not thinking, we're just doing. But we need to capture our thinking.
Oh, you're almost at a spiritual level there. You're almost like a metaphysical, because I do feel like people need to get it out of their brain or quiet themselves down where they're actually, like you said, fully present and able to, what do I want? What do I need? And do I need that? Do I really need it? Wow. Yes. I love it. I love it. All right. So I think I have I have so many questions to ask. But we don't have time, and you have to take care of your kids. So, and that person that ran over your garbage bag.
I know. And also to be clear, what am I supposed to do about this?
Right.
And why do I need to know about this right now?
Right. Why do they
just tell me when I get home from work?
Do they want you? Do they want you to tell them what to do?
And the spouse telling me, like, what do you want me to do about this?
Listen, I've had that too. It's like, you're right. You're there. Handle this. Like, you don't need my input. Clean it up. I don't know.
I know. It's adult kid too. It's not like, anyways.
Yeah, but sometimes they're worse. Right. They're worse sometimes. All right. So Lisa, where do people get a hold of you? Where can people buy your books and take your courses and all that stuff?
Oh, thanks. So the website's organized365.com. Books are sold. Books are available everywhere the books are sold. They're all on Amazon. My podcast is Organized 365, and I am most active on Instagram under Organized 365.
Do you do videos? A lot of videos too, besides all the podcasts? Like, how do you get time?
I do not.
I was going to say.
I do videos in my courses. Yeah. But I don't have time to do social media. I've never gone viral for anything. I don't have a lot of followers. Like, I do a lot of podcasts, books, content, courses, but that social media is a hungry beast. Like, I just can't feed it.
Yeah.
Can't feed it.
It's 24/7. And I don't think it's really good for you. I don't think it's mentally good for anyone.
No,
it's great
agreed.
to connect over a certain amount, but I think that's a whole nother course. Organize your life without social media. Right.
Exactly.
I think that's another thing. Exactly. All right. So I love this conversation, Lisa. I loved you. So if you're ever in the New York area, let me know. And I would love to. I have a networking group. I would love to have you on, and you can be besieged by all the questions of all the women.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
I love this. So everyone buy the book. The new book is Escaping Quicksand. While we're recording this, it is being released tomorrow, but by the time you guys actually hear this, it'll already be available. So on Amazon or on her website. On your website too?
Yep.
Fabulous. Okay. Organize365.com, everybody. And thank you, Lisa, for coming on the show.
Thank you.
All right. I'm Jill Conway. Thank you for listening to the show celebrating incredible women like Lisa. I hope you are inspired to pursue your own goals, organize your house, believe in yourself, and dream bigger. Your voice matters and your story can help others. I hope you join me next time. Share this podcast with a friend and follow us on Instagram. All right. Thanks, everybody. Thank you, Lisa.
Thank you.